Hi, folks. This is Dennis Sullivan, Executive Director for the Center for Business Innovation at CCBC, and want to welcome you back to part two of our three-part series in which we're working through a series of workshops to help you develop your business plan for this year's business plan competition. So first workshop, we focused on developing the strategy, the vision, the mission, the values that are important to your business and that are going to be important for developing your business plan. Today, we're getting into the marketing plan. And then in part three, we're going to get into the financial plan and the legal plan. So we start with the big picture, then we start working through now the marketing, how we're going to reach our audience and define our audience, the messaging that we want to use. And then the life kind of gets sucked out of things a little bit when we start talking about the financials and start talking about, do we have enough money to make this happen, to bring this idea to fruition? Are we going to make enough money? And are we going to have enough profit to be able to put that money back into the business to help grow it? So we got some tough discussions coming up, but we'll save that for next time. And then we'll work through the legal issues as well, like how to set up your business in terms of an LLC or a sole proprietorship or a S Corp. And then we'll also talk about how to protect some of your ideas of intellectual property, copyright, trademark. I think you'll find that interesting too. So without further ado, let's get into now the developing the marketing plan. And I'll share with you my slides here and I'll talk through this. All right, so getting into the marketing planning here. And you have your one-page marketing plan. If you don't have that, don't worry. I got it right here for you. Take some notes, but I'll put it on one page for you so that you can see it. And let me share with you my screen so you can see it, what I'm seeing on my screen. Bear with me one second. All right, so here's the one-page marketing plan for you. And as you can see, got some key questions that we're asking. And we want to start right here when we're talking about our marketing with the question, who? Who is your ideal target market? All right, who? Everything starts here. Whenever you get stuck, and I always advise this with clients, whenever you get stuck talking about what we should do next, how we should do things, come back to the question, who? It really does help guide the discussion and frame the discussion for you so that you are then offering a product, a service that is designed for your ideal target market. It is very difficult to try to sell something to somebody who doesn't have a need or a want for what you're offering. Instead, we start with the question, who? Then we can figure out, well, what their wants or needs are, and then develop a product or service that is designed to fit their problem, their challenges that they're wrestling with, their wants and needs. But we got to start here. We got to start with the question, who? Who is the ideal target market that we want to serve? Not, we'd like to serve these people. We may want to serve these other people. Wouldn't it be nice if we served these people? No, it's who is the ideal target market that is going to be easy for you to do business with. It's going to, and also be profitable for you, where you're going to get a return on your investment. And let's start here, especially as a startup. Let's start with what we really think is going to work well, and then test some ideas later, all right, once we make our millions. All right, so we start here with the question, who? And oftentimes, what business owners will do is they'll start making a huge mistake with asking the question, what? What do we have to sell? What can we offer? Wrong, all right? There are a lot of situations where business owners have done this over the years and really fell into the trap of trying to offer something without really understanding their market. And that's the key here, is understanding who it is you're trying to serve. And there are many, many cases of mistakes being made by very smart people who have been through college, taken marketing courses, have lots of experience, but have failed miserably. Here's a great example. Cosmopolitan. Everybody knows the magazine. Everybody, reads the articles for the relationship advice. And also they're talking about health foods. So they said, hey, we know what makes good, healthy food. So let's get into the yogurt business. Believe it or not, Cosmopolitan got into the yogurt business. That failed miserably. People trusted them for advice about relationships and health, not necessarily trusted them for a new yogurt. What about cocaine? Cocaine in a can. Believe it or not, this is actually a product that was sold. Somebody thought this is a good idea. Let's get this out in the market. Well, that didn't last too long. The government stepped in and said, you're not going to be selling this anymore. What about Coke? So Coke is actually credited with one of the biggest product disasters in history. So some of us who are old enough to remember back in the 80s and 90s where Pepsi was doing a taste test challenge. They were going to city after city and they would put Coke to a taste test challenge. So they would set up down in Harbor Place, for example, and big tent set up, Pepsi taste test challenge. And you would sit there and behind a screen would be Coke and Pepsi. You didn't know which one was which. Take a sip of Pepsi, take a sip of the other drink, and in city after city, Pepsi was winning the taste test challenge. And at the same time this was happening, Coke was beginning to lose market share and sales. And I said, we need to do something. So maybe they're onto something with this Pepsi taste test challenge. So what they did is they did their own test internally. Pepsi versus Coke. You didn't know which one was which. Guess who won? Pepsi. Coke is like, we got a problem. So Coke started playing around with this formula. And they actually came out with a new Coke formula. When they launched it, people hated it. They thought it was awful. And what was interesting about it is before they even launched it, they did the research. They did the taste test challenge. And new Coke was winning. It was beating Pepsi. Yet when they came out with the product, people hated it. And they had to come back to what you see now, oftentimes advertised as Coke Classic. They had to get rid of the new formula. Why? Because they were asking all the wrong questions. You see, I've done this in classes where we will do a Pepsi taste test challenge with Coke. You take a sip of Pepsi, take a sip of Coke. Every time, Pepsi wins. Why? Because it has more sugar. Pepsi will win each time because it's sweeter. You would prefer it. You prefer it in sips, but you wouldn't prefer a glass of it. Give you a great example. Growing up, my dad loved Pepsi, but he would only pour half a glass because it's too sweet for him. And that's true for many people. Coke was asking the wrong question. It isn't what you prefer in sips. It's what do you prefer in a glass or a six-pack? Do you prefer Pepsi or Coke? You would prefer Coke. And Coke has larger market share, has more sales, because people prefer it in a glass or a six-pack. So lots of great mistakes. People, executives, very smart executives, thought they knew what the market wanted, but unless you're asking the right question, you're not going to get to the answer or a profitable answer that you need. So you always want to start with the question who, not what. So business leaders, we got lots of history here showing that they thought they knew what would work. And it wasn't based on what customers wanted or needed. We got the example with Cosmopolitan getting involved in the yogurt business, cocaine in a can, new Coke. Here are some more recent ones. Google Glass. You're able to talk to people using your glasses, maybe watch a video from your glasses, check the weather, have text messaging, all from your glasses. Didn't quite take off. People thought it was actually a little creepy. Amazon Fire. Do we need another mobile phone? No. So Amazon Fire thought they had something that could compete with the other products out there. Wasn't based on what people wanted or needed. One of my favorites, believe it or not, Cheetos came out with a lip balm. Spent millions of dollars on this to develop a lip balm. Cheeto flavor. Nah, didn't quite go over. So when you're asking this question, who, you need to go beyond just income, age, geographic area. All right. Get into who is it that you're really trying to appeal to? Is it men or women? And be careful with this one. Studies showing 80% of all household purchase decisions are made by women. It may be the men who are writing the checks, especially for big ticket items like the boat, the house, cars, things like that. They may be writing the check, but they're not the ones making the decision. 80% of all household purchase decisions are made by the female in the house. So who is it that you're really trying to appeal to? Who is it that is really making the decisions for your product or service? What do they aspire to? Most products and services are designed to solve some type of problem, make life better or easier or save us money. In many cases, it is, how are we going to make life better? So what is their aspiration? Where do they want to be 3 years, 5 years from now? How can your product or service help get them there? What organizations are they affiliated with? Oftentimes, if you can start focusing on their organizational affiliation, that's a great place where you can get your message in front of people just like them. Again, what's their role in the purchase decision process? Not just in the household, but in business. If you have a B2B product or service, who is involved in that decision-making process? What are their roles? What information do you need to get to them so that they can make those decisions? Where are they going for their information? Are they going to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Hulu? Are they watching radio, TV? What channels are they watching? So you can get your message in front of them. How do they use their computers or mobile devices to get information so that you can get in front of them? You even want to get into political affiliation. Notice what we're doing is we're really developing a profile based on demographics, but also psychographics, lifestyle, and develop a profile. And you're going to probably come up with several different profiles for your product or service. And each one should be a different segment who has different wants or needs. Now, how do they spend their free time? Get to know as much as possible about your market so that when you're putting your product or service in front of them, you're really speaking to their aspirations, their wants, their needs. So when somebody sees it, they say, wow, this person's really talking to me, understands what I am going through right now. Here's an example talking about psychographics with Mac versus PC users. And you can see on the left-hand column there, we have PC users. On the right are Mac users. And so we can get into some core demographics here. So notice that PC people, 22% more likely to be between the ages of 35 to 49, compared to Mac users, more likely to be between the ages of 18 to 34. So who are you going to show in your ads? If it's a Mac user, it's going to be a younger audience. Compared to PC users, it's going to be a little bit older. So Mac users, 58% or more liberal. Mac people, 13% more likely to say they want to be perceived as unique and different to make my own mark. This is how Apple built its products, is by showing that by buying our product, you will be different than all the rest. Go back to one of the most famous ads ever created, the 1984 ad when they're introducing the Mac product, introducing the Apple computer. The whole premise is you don't need to be like everybody else. You can break away from this dystopian future and be different. Notice what's happening now. Samsung has taken the page directly out of Apple's playbook and now poking fun at all the people lined up for the next new Apple phone. Not sure why they're in line. And Samsung people are actually poking fun of them, saying, hey, if you don't want to be like the rest, like all these other Apple people, you can be different by buying Samsung. They just took that page right out of Apple's playbook. Brilliant. Here's another example. 43% of Mac people consider themselves early adopters, so they will wait in line. And it doesn't matter what is being offered or what the difference is between one iPhone to from another. If it's new, they're going to get in line and buy it. Notice what they're watching on TV. So PC users more likely to watch History Channel, USA, compared to the Mac users, Bravo, Showtime, HBO. So where are you going to advertise? So you have a good idea now of how you can start using this information to get your product or service in front of your target market, your ideal target market, based on where they are. Best Buy took this to a whole nother level. They actually designed stores around the demographics that they were trying to serve. And they created the Jill store, for example. This is for soccer moms, for moms coming into the store with their kids. They don't like shopping for technology. So the ads are featuring softer colors. The store itself is painted in softer colors. They have a kids tech department. There's no noise going on in there because you got enough noise with the kids with you. And when you walk into the store, a customer service representative will come up, introduce themselves. Most likely it's another woman saying, how can I help you today? What is it that you need? And we'll actually work with the customer to help them find exactly what they need. Compared to the Buzz store, is designed for the male technophile looking for the latest gadgets, video games. They want the noise. They will sit down and play. So they set up a center, a gaming center, for them to sit down in a nice comfy chair and play the games. Noise going on all around them. They love it. They don't have anybody coming up to them, introducing themselves, saying, how can we help you today? Because they'll say, no, I'm just browsing. They want to be able to find it themselves. When they did this, sales shot up 3.2%. Pretty good, especially in retail. Gross profit up 24.5%. Huge. All by designing stores for their ideal target markets. So who is your ideal target market? Describe them as best you can, using all those different criteria that we're working through, and develop an avatar, develop a profile. You may want to get some images from Google Images that you can use to apply to your target market, so you have a clear idea in your head of who these people are, what they would look like, so that you can craft your marketing for your specific audience. And you may have different segments, and that's certainly fine, but you're going to need to have a different message then, different offer perhaps for each one of those segments. So I'll pause it right there so you can jot down some ideas, or you pause the video right there so you can jot down some ideas, and we will go on to the second step in just a moment. All right, hope you pause the video. We're starting to work through the first question in our one-page marketing plan, talking about who is your ideal target market. Remember, this is not about what you think is best, what you think is going to work. Instead, it's about your target market and what it is they need. So now that we've defined perhaps one, maybe even several segments, we can get into the next question, which is then what? What are their wants or needs? And because, as I mentioned before, every product, every service is designed to solve some type of problem. Designed, there's a pain point, there's a challenge that your target market is wrestling with. So what you want to do is, as you see here, talk about the pain point, then the solution that you can offer, and you may not be able to offer a solution for a particular pain point, and that's fine. Now we are able to start defining what it is we can't do, which is just as important. And then the benefit. And this is where a lot of people stop. They stop with the solution and never get into the benefit. The benefit is huge. All right. We need to circle back and say, here's how this will help you. Here's why you should use our product then. So pain, what is the problem that your target market is experiencing? What can you offer? And then how will your target market benefit from your solutions? So easy steps here. So one of my favorite questions I like to ask is, what keeps your ideal prospects up at night? What is getting them up at 2 o'clock in the morning? We have one client, he works with helping people get out of debt. Most popular time people were getting on his website was around midnight to 3 a.m. They're getting up in the middle of the night sweating because they're worried about paying the bills. Do we have enough to pay the bills this month? Do we have enough for college tuition? Do we have enough saved? We need to get this under control. And they would wake up in the middle of the night, not to go on other sites in the middle of the night, but to go on to a financial planning site to help them. And it was amazing that he was getting all this traction in the middle of the night. But that is the problem. If you have something that's getting people up in the middle of the night and you have a solution that you can offer and a way that they can benefit, that's huge. It is much easier to sell something to somebody who already recognizes that they have a problem or pain point than to try to convince them that they have a problem. If they already recognize they have a problem, all now you're talking about is the solution you have to offer. And price is not as much a concern. It's more of, what can you do for me? How can you help me? I already understand I have a problem. So what are the solutions that you can offer? And then how are they going to benefit? Give you some examples here. So I need a new job. Solution, Indeed.com. Again, keep in mind, you need to tie it back to the benefit. Easy to use online job listings. I want to hang a picture. Craftsman. Affordable, reliable tools. I want a car for my family. Dodge Caravan. Plenty of room and affordable. I need driving directions. Waze. Turn-by-turn driving directions. So each one of these, you have a pain, solution being offered, and then the benefit. And notice that it's very short, sweet, to the point. The more that you can keep this to a few words, one sentence, the better. That's the more targeted. And going back to who, your ideal target market, you don't want to complicate this. Keep it simple. So what problem or pain is your target market experiencing? What solutions can you offer? And how will your target market benefit from the solutions you have to offer? All right, throwing a lot at you right there. Hopefully it starts generating some ideas. Jot them down now so that you can start getting these down on paper as you start working through your business plan. So I'm going to, you pause it right here. All right, and we'll come back in just a moment. Okay, we're back. Hopefully you got some notes down talking about who is your target market, what in terms of their pain, the solution you can offer, and the benefits. Now we're going to get into where. Where are you going to get your message in front of people? How are you going to be able to reach them? How are you going to grab their attention? So I often come back to this idea, where do they live? Where are they spending their time? So are they going to Facebook, radio, mail, Instagram? Keep in mind, we have a lot of younger folks who are getting away from Facebook because their parents are on it, so they're going to Instagram. So if you're going to a younger market, you may want to look at Instagram. Are they on TV? What channels are they on TV? Are they on Netflix? Are they on streaming services? Are they on traditional television channels? ABC, NBC, CBS? Are they on YouTube, Hulu? The key is you want to put yourself in the shoes of your prospects. All right? You want to start thinking about them and how they're getting their information. And the mistake I often hear from business owners I'm working with is, well, I'm not a big fan of Facebook. I don't go online. It's not about you, all right? It's about your customers and where they prefer to get their information, not you, all right? So you need to take yourself out of this. And that's why I say you need to put yourself in the shoes of your customers and not think like you are your customer. So ask yourself, how are you most likely to reach him or her? Where are your ideal prospects located geographically? And it may not be, you need to define it beyond just like a zip code or even a city, because there's pockets within cities where people are very different. And there's an old saying, birds of a feather flock together. Well, just look at the political campaigns. When they are marketing their candidate, it's usually based on street level, because most often the people living in your neighborhood are a lot like you. All right? We are known for buying homes in areas where people share similar political aspiration and political affiliation, share similar in terms of income, because the homes in that area are usually priced around the same amount. So the folks in those neighborhoods earn very similar types of incomes. Their values tend to be very similar. In terms of household sizes, tend to be very similar. So we're not too different as we would probably like to think. But what you really want to do is maybe even get down to a street level in terms of geographic and beyond just a city or a zip code. If you're marketing to businesses, where is your ideal prospect on that organizational chart? Who do you have to go through in order to get the information to your ultimate decision maker? And are you even going to be reaching that decision maker, or do you have to sell other people on your product or service before somebody actually gives the okay? So what's the best form of communication? Is it online? Is it more direct mail, for example? Is it a phone call? Is it a presentation? So what channel is going to give you the best response in terms of getting in front of people? It's often difficult to get somebody to just go ahead and buy. So what are the steps in that process that's going to give you the best return on your investment? And where are they already getting information about products that are similar to yours? So, excuse me, but we have been doing just fine without your product or service so far. We've been able to make it through. So chances are we're probably getting information, or we're getting products, services that are very similar to what you have to offer. We're already getting that somewhere. So where are people already getting that information? How are they getting it? What channels are they getting in it now that you could learn from to perhaps then target your market with your new product or service? A great place to go is Info USA. Go online and you actually be able to build a consumer list as well as a business list, and you can see just how detailed that you can get and purchase a list of people. And just as importantly, start looking at what kind of market size are you thinking about. As you drill down, you're going to narrow your niche even more and more. Your list size will get smaller. So what is a good market size that you could then work with based on the criteria that you're selecting for your list. Believe it or not, good old-fashioned mail works. And 99% of people can throw out your offer. You only need a 1% response rate in order for it to be profitable. Give an example. So let's say we are marketing a campaign membership sales for the local zoo. So our offer is we're going to talk about a membership offer for the zoo, and we're going to try to reach families with children ages perhaps 2 to 10, families earning at least 75,000 household income and above, adults between the ages of 25 to 39. And we could get all the information from Info USA. We could just target females as head of household. We can narrow it down to a 5-mile radius of the zoo. We could also look at hobbies and interests in terms of interest in photography, pets. We could really narrow this down. And so let's say that we're going to do a mailing. Usually for consumer lists, about 5,000 names is a good test. So we would send out a mailing to 5,000. And 1% response is all we need. 1% of our 5,000 to say, I would like to become a member of the zoo. All right, so 0.01. We got 50 people who said that they would buy. Doesn't sound like much, but it's all we need. I'll show you. So 50 people have responded. How much are we charging? About $100 for membership is pretty good. So 50 times 100 gives us $5,000 in revenue. Well, how much does it cost to send out this postcard? Well, we got list costs. Say we're purchasing from Info USA, they would charge us $150 per 1,000 names. We got 5,000 names, so it would be $150 times 5, $750. Plus, we also have printing of the postcard that we'd be mailing out, or the direct mail offer. Let's say we're doing a postcard. So postcard printing and then postage. We don't have to send it first class. We can send it standard mail. So a little bit cheaper. All in, it would probably cost us about 50 cents per name that includes the list, the postage, and the printing of our postcard. So we got 5,000 times 50 cents. Our cost then would be 2,500 cost. And I left off 10 here for our revenue. 5,000 minus 2,500. $2,500 profit. Pretty darn good. If I were to give you, or excuse me, if you were to give me $2,500 and I gave you $5,000 back 45 days later, you'd probably be pretty happy. Probably say, hey, can I give you 10,000 next time? Can we do a mailing of 20,000? Make even more money? 1% response is all you need. And that's why people do it. And what's good about it is that you can be very, very targeted about who gets it in their mailbox. You can go to one person on one street and skip somebody else because they may not have kids. They may be grandparents and next door neighbor. No sense in doing a marketing campaign with kids on the front of the postcard if it isn't going to appeal to your target market. So you can be very specific about who's getting your offer and who is not. And don't think about just postcards. There's other things that you can do. You can mail out. Here's a message in a bottle. where you actually send out a plastic bottle. The letter is inside the bottle. Think that would get your attention? Absolutely. Here's another one we did for a client where we put a letter in a bank bag and sent the bank bag to the prospects and on the front of it we said, here's an offer you can put right into the bank. Think you'll open that? This one got a 12% response rate. It's a little bit more expensive, but also much higher response rate, and generated about $500,000 for the client. This is a fun one. It's a trash can where you actually put a letter and stuff it in the trash can. The trash can is about 5 inches high by 3 inches wide, and send out in a box. Open up the box, see this trash can. And usually we send this after we sent several other offers and never heard a response. So we say in this one, we sent you several offers before, you probably threw them away. We went ahead and did it for you this time. But here's why you shouldn't. It's a fun one. Definitely gets people's attention. So where are you going to grab the attention of your ideal prospects? I just gave you some examples with direct mail, how specific you can be. You can also be very targeted with your Facebook, your Instagram marketing, your Google ads as well, as long as that's where they are and that's where they're getting their information. So where are you going to grab the attention of your ideal prospects? All right, pause the video here and we'll come back to the next piece. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you're getting some good notes down. You're starting to work on these ideas to develop your business plan. We started with the question, who? Who is our target market? Who we're trying to reach? In the ideal target market, what are their pain points, the problem that they're experiencing, the solution you can offer, and the benefit? And then we started talking next about where. Where do they live? Where are they getting their information? We talked about some different ideas of how to reach them. All right, next. Well, we want to get back to our one-page business plan. So let me share my screen with you. All right, and the key in all of this is we are thinking about putting ourselves in the shoes of our customers. We're not trying to come up with what we think people want, all right, or what they need. We are actually developing based on what we know they want or need because we've defined who our target market is. All right, so next we're getting into the question of why. Why would someone want to do business with you compared to somebody else? Again, we've been doing just fine. All right, so far without your product, your service that you're thinking about, putting out into the market that's going to change the world. We've been doing okay. So we have choices. We have alternatives. So why would we do business with you and not somebody else? Going back to our previous meeting, people don't buy what you do. You should be able to answer this. They buy why you do it. All right? People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. And this is your unique selling proposition. This is your brand as far as why you are doing what you're doing. It's one of the most important thing that can make your business or your product different from everyone else. Right? And for startups, this is often why you got into the business in the first place, why you decided to do this, why you decided to risk your money, the time that you're spending on this, what's driving you. That is usually the one thing that can differentiate you from everybody else, especially as a startup. If you have something unique with your product or feature, that's great. That's one piece of it. Oftentimes, though, what's really going to grab the attention of your prospects is why you're doing this. So you can shout out to the world, we're not like the rest. and here's why. Give you some examples. So again, this is the one thing that's going to make you stand out from the competition. So other people are intrigued enough to say, that's pretty cool. I want to know more. Zappos. Talked about them previously, world's largest online shoe retailer. We've been asked by a lot of people how we've grown so quickly. And the answer is actually really simple. We've aligned the entire organization around one mission: to provide the best customer service possible. Internally, we call this our WOW philosophy. All right. If you ever tried reaching Facebook or Google, give them a call. Good luck trying to find their phone number. They don't want you to call. Zappos is all about customer service. They put their phone number everywhere. They want you to call. They want to talk to you. They built the entire business around creating incredible customer service. Not just good customer service, but wow. And in fact, they have tours. People coming from all over the country going to Las Vegas to tour their facility. How many companies do you know that are offering tours to show people how they do business? They even publish a book called Delivering Happiness, talking about how they've been able to do this. Do we need another shoe company? Well, Tom's created something very different behind their purpose. With every pair purchase, Tom's will give a pair of new shoes to a child in need. Go on their website and they'll show you. We've given 10 million pairs of new shoes to children in need. Honest Tea. Do we need another drink? You go to Wawa, Royal Farms, all these other stores, and there are literally hundreds to choose from. Do we need another drink company? Well, Honest Tea created something different. They promote delicious, truly healthy, organic beverages. We strive to grow with the same honesty we use to craft our products, with sustainability and great taste for all. And they made this part of their brand. Nature got it right. We put it in a bottle. So why will someone do business with you? Why will they want to do business with you? Pause here. Hopefully you're getting some ideas down. Jot them down because this is what's going to differentiate you from everyone else. Pause the video and jot down your ideas. All right, we're back. Hopefully you're jotting these ideas down. All right, we've talked about who, what, where, and we just talked about why. Why would someone want to do business with you? Next, we're talking about how. How are people going to do business with you? What are the steps in the process? Because it's not just you say, we have an offer, buy, and people are saying, okay, where do I sign up? Who do I pay? It's a little more complicated than that, right? There's some research. Decision-making needs to go into it. And for some things, it's going to be easier than others, but there's usually a process that a consumer is going through to make that decision. How can you help them make that decision so that they're buying your product? So how are customers going to do business with you? And then the key is, okay, well, what do we need to do to make that happen? Think about this in terms of a funnel. So you open up at the largest point, line it up correctly. So largest point, and it goes down and down. It narrows in terms of the market size because you're asking people to take steps. Some people may not take the next step. That's fine. They're in our funnel. We've been able to perhaps capture their name, their email address, phone, so we can follow up with them later when they're ready. Everybody may not be ready to buy right away. That's fine. As long as we're capturing them in the funnel, we can come back to them so that when they're ready to buy, we're there for them. So what's the first step that you want people to take? Go to a website, call. Do you want them to send you an email, fill out a form? And then what's the next step? After they've perform the first step, what's the next step after that? And then what's the next step after that? And then if they're buying, well, what's the next step after they buy? Do you want them to upgrade? Do you want them to buy an additional product? Do you want them to renew? What's the next step after that? So you want to have a process for each step in the process so that people know where they're going, where there's a end point. And one of the sayings we like to say all the time is no dead ends. There should never be a dead end where somebody says, okay, I guess there's nothing else for me to do with this company. What's the next step? So give me an example, Gillette Fusion. So when they first came out with the Fusion system, they offered a free trial. They gave away the razor. And for everybody who tried it, 60% of them ended up becoming loyal buyers, 60%. So what they did is they offered a free trial, then they discounted the razor and blades. And where they really make the money, where all the shaving companies make their money, is on the refill packs, the razors. And in fact, it's so valuable, you have to go to CVS or Costco and ask somebody to unlock the razors so that you can purchase them, all right? And then the next step is you get the Fusion razor and cream system. Gartner Research, they offer a free white paper that you can download. And then you can get research subscription to other research. You can get customized research specifically to what the answers that you're trying to get. And then they offer consulting. Notice what happens is that as you get more personal with the company, you get more one-on-one attention, it becomes more expensive. My company, Breakthrough Pros Consulting Company, we offer a free ebook for people to download. And books are a great way. It's a great credibility factor. Notice when people go on to the Today Show or the morning news shows, they don't read their resume. They say, this person is the author of XYZ book. Boom, that's it. It's enough credibility. They're the author, they're the expert. So oftentimes a book is a great way to give yourself credibility, especially in consulting service type areas. But we do it with a lot of clients. We do it with landscaping clients, deck builders, where we have a book that people can download as the first step to then get ideas about what they could do for their yard or their deck, their home. And then the next step, they can get more information as they're going through this decision process, and then a consultation before they actually buy. And for my company, you get a free ebook. You get also a free e-letter with continuing articles, a course that we can offer, as well as then the one-on-one consulting. So most companies are asking you to make a yes-no decision. What I'm encouraging you to do is have people say maybe, and then have something for them. So here's some examples, buy it now, one day only, 20% off Sunday, one day only. These are all yes-no decisions. You're missing most of your audience, most of your prospects, if you're asking them to make a yes-no decision, because only a few are going to make a yes. Many are willing to say, well, maybe, I'm not quite sure yet, give me time. Well, we need to give them time, and we can do that with our steps in the funnel process. So most, if you never heard of this is the rule of 45, and it simply says that 45% of anyone who is interested in a product or service is going to buy from someone. They're going to buy that product or that service. 45% of them will buy it. The question is, are they going to buy from you, or are they going to buy from someone else? 10 to 15% will buy within 3 months, 26% within 6 months, and 45% within 12 months. So this is typical for consumer purchase decisions, and especially for larger ticket items. For smaller lower price ticket items, it may be 3 minutes, it may be 3 hours, it may be 3 weeks. All right, but 45% of all those who are interested will buy. The question is, are they going to buy from you, or are they going to buy from someone else? So what we want to do is try asking for a maybe, not a yes, no, but a maybe to begin this process. Have them take a test drive. Try it. See how you like it. Get behind the wheel. Or take it, taste it. See if you prefer this one. How about a 30-day free trial we can offer? Or how about a 10-day free trial? Start now. No credit card required. Easy to be able to get started. Netflix launched the company on this campaign. 1 month free trial. People are like, what exactly are streaming services? Are there good shows there? Is it complicated? Try it. See how you like it. 1 month, that's all it is. 1 month free trial. Cancel anytime. That's it. Netflix took off with this promotion because they had to get people to try it, to test it, to see if they liked it. Once they started getting into it and using it for a month, they realized this ain't so bad. This is actually pretty good. Some good shows here. Books are a great way to launch your business, get word out there, to establish credibility. This is a book wrote for a client, developed 5,000 leads within 1 year. I was talking with another person I work with. He launched a new book, spent $35,000 launching his book. He has gotten 10 times that in just the last 7 months. 10 times. He's made $350,000 on a $35,000 investment. Pretty good? You bet. Is there a way that you can develop credibility using your funnel system and have that as the first step that you can offer to then start the conversation with your prospects? So trying to get you away from this idea of a yes-no decision and have something for all those people who would say, maybe, nah, I'm not sure yet. I need to think about it. Okay, well, what's the first step? What's the next step and the next step? And when they do buy, what's the next step after that? So how are your customers going to do business with you? All right, I'm going to pause it right there, all right, as you start thinking about your funnel. And then also, what then do you need to make this happen, to make these steps in this funnel system happen? Are you going to do it? Are you going to outsource it? How are you going to get these pieces built for your funnel? Where can you start simply? Maybe you need to add on later once you started testing it. But who's going to do this? All right, pause the video so that you can start jotting down some notes here as you're working on your business plan. So pause it and then come on back. All right. Hopefully you got some ideas down for your funnel. We've been talking about each of the steps here in our one-page marketing plan. This how is huge. It now starts to pull together all these other questions that we've been answering as to what your marketing funnel is going to look like so that you can then begin to offer something to your prospects. Lastly, we get into when. When is all this going to happen? All right, when? And let me just use another marker here, make that stand out a little bit more. When? And how you define this is up to you in terms of short-term, long-term, mid-term. What I encourage you to do is start with the end in mind. What is it that you ultimately want to look at want this to look like? Remember when we were talking last time about your why, your vision, build it for what you want this to look like 3 years, 5 years from now. Your funnel system should be the same. So build it for what you want this to look like, perhaps a year from now, 2 years from now. Build it with the end in mind. And then you can start with smaller pieces now and in the short term. Midterm, fill in the gaps a little bit more, and then long term, you have your funnel completely built out. So work backwards. All right. So what are you going to need to make all this happen? You can define the short term however you want. It could be a week from now. It could be several months from now. It could be a year from now. You may need to finding that you need to do some more research, or you need to get more funding together. That's fine. All right. So short term, what type of time period are we talking about? Midterm? Well, somewhere between long term and midterm. That's somewhere between a long term and short term. Long term could be 3 years, could be 5 years. Midterm, what is it's going to happen between that short term and long term? And calendar it out. You know, what is this going to look like several months from now, if that's how you're defining short term or midterm? All right, jot it down. The more that you have a plan, the better. And what you want to do is start with one piece of this. Let's say you realize I need to have a website built, right? A different website for a product or service that you're offering. Okay. Realistically, let's say that's going to be 6 months. So what's going to happen between now and that 6 months in order for you to build that website? All right. You need to hire somebody, perhaps, to help build out the website. You need to develop a schematic of what that website will look like. You need to get together some images, the text that I could give to somebody to then build out the website. Okay, those are now the other pieces that need to happen. So you need to start working on the text, a logo, images. Start working on that in the short term. Then once you get that together, you need to hire somebody then to work on the website. That could be midterm. And then long term, 6 months from now, we're building out the website. Okay? So work in chunks and then break those chunks down into smaller pieces as to the action items that need to happen. And then you can start seeing, okay, how this is all going to start to come together. Well, I hope that helps. We've been working through quite a bit so far in terms of our marketing plan. The who, we're asking ourselves, who is our ideal target market? What are their problems, the pain points, the solutions you have to offer, how they'll benefit? Where are you going to reach them? Now that we defined who they are, we have a better idea of where they're getting their information, how they're, what channels they're perhaps in, so that we can get our message in front of them. Why they're going to do business with you and not somebody else. How they're going to do business with you, what that funnel will look like. And then when. When is all this going to happen in terms of the pieces that we need to build in order to pull all this together? Keep in mind, we got our business plan competition coming up, and with all of the dates that you need to pay attention to. And to do that, just go to www.ccbcmd.edu/innovation. All right. So should be an I. Innovation. All right. ccbcmd.edu/innovation. On that page is all the dates that you need to pay attention to for the competition. We also have updates with seminars going on, other workshops, announcements, key resources that you may need as you're working through your business plan, or you have an idea for something. Our contact information is all right there as well. So on behalf of myself, Angela Kivas, our project director at the Center for Business Innovation, happy to be working with you. We wish you all the best as you're working on your business plan, and stay tuned for our next workshop talking about the financial and legal planning in part 3 of our 3-part series. So again, my name is Dennis Sullivan, Executive Director of the Center for Business Innovation. Glad to have you, and I hope you find this beneficial.